Here's what a woman feels during your absence. Female psychology, Old Stoic wisdom. Men. Let's face it, women don't truly understand the value of your presence until they are forced to confront your absence. You might assume she enjoys having you around, but the real test of her feelings doesn't come when you're with her. It's when you're not. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Welcome back to Stoicism Win, where we teach men how to navigate relationships with clarity, confidence, and control. Today, we'll dive into what a woman really experiences when you're not around. And believe me, it's far more complex than simply missing you. Her emotions fluctuate, her mindset shifts, and depending on who you are as a man, she either becomes more drawn to you or gradually starts to mentally replace you. You see, modern dating has conditioned men to think that constant attention is essential to keep a woman interested. But that's a myth. In truth, the space you create by stepping away, whether intentionally or unintentionally, determines if she respects you or sees you as just another disposable option. Here's the hard truth. When you're absent, a woman goes through an emotional and mental journey that reveals everything you need to know about her true level of interest. Some women will feel a profound sense of longing. Others may become uncertain, and some may not feel much of anything at all, which, in itself, is a message you cannot ignore. But most men overlook these signs, too busy chasing, over-explaining, or trying to fix something that isn't even broken. The absence you create serves as a test, one that reveals whether you are irreplaceable or simply another passing phase in her life. Let's break it down. I'm going to walk you through the 7 key emotional shifts a woman goes through when you're not around. These shifts reveal how deeply invested she truly is, how to identify these signals, and most importantly, how you can leverage this understanding to maintain control in your relationship. But remember, the goal is not to manipulate, but to understand the dynamics and set boundaries that protect your own value. It's about knowing when to give space and when to step in. Remember, men, your absence speaks volumes. Don't let it be the silent signal of your own unawareness. By understanding how she feels when you're not there, you can better navigate the complexities of relationships with wisdom and control. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your experiences and how you handle these moments of absence in your relationships. When she questions your value. When a woman is left to reflect on your absence, she is forced to confront a question that she may not have thought about before. Was he truly worth my time? The absence of a man doesn't just mean a gap in her daily routine, it sparks a deeper emotional assessment. If your presence in her life was nothing more than constant validation, endless texting, or an unspoken assumption that you would always be available, your departure won't leave much of an impact. She may feel a brief void, but it won't be profound. However, if you were the kind of man who brought strength, leadership, excitement, and security, your absence will be felt deeply. A woman doesn't miss just anyone. She misses a man who added real value to her world. At first, she might not even realize it. She may continue with her life, engaging with other men, enjoying the attention they provide, thinking she's fine without you. But as time passes, something shifts. The illusion of being unaffected starts to break down, and she begins to question what drew her to you in the first place. Was it your confidence, your ambition, the way you made her feel secure, the excitement of your presence? These thoughts slowly infiltrate her mind, and she finds herself reflecting on your value, something she never really did before. If you were a man who stood firmly in his principles, who never wavered in maintaining high standards, and who made her work for your attention, she will start to feel your absence as a void in her life. She'll come to realize that no one else around her is measuring up, and those other men simply cannot provide the same masculine energy you did. That gap, the excitement, the security, the presence of a strong man will feel like a deep, almost unfillable loss. When a woman experiences this, she starts to crave that presence again. It's not something that can easily be replaced because it is tied to something deeper, something fundamental in her emotional landscape. On the other hand, If you were the kind of man who was overly eager to please, constantly available, and always putting her happiness before your own, she may not even feel your absence. Instead of feeling a loss, she might feel relieved, confirming that you weren't as valuable as she once believed. It's a hard truth to hear, but it's one that reflects the importance of maintaining your own sense of self-worth, purpose, and standards. A woman will only value you to the extent that you value yourself. As the ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you allow yourself to become too dependent on her approval or availability, you diminish your own value in the process. Real-life situations often mirror this dynamic. Men who allow themselves to become overly invested in seeking validation from a woman or try too hard to please her may find themselves in a cycle of diminishing returns. When they remove themselves, the woman's response can be indifferent because her emotional attachment was never strong enough in the first place. Meanwhile, a man who is confident in his own path, who does not bend to every whim or demand, and who retains his own autonomy and strength, will find that when he steps back, it forces her to reassess her feelings toward him. She will begin to realize that she was not just attached to the man, but to the value he brought into her life. Men, this is a reminder that the most powerful thing you can do in relationships is to remain true to who you are. Don't compromise your worth or identity for the sake of someone else's approval. Stand tall, be confident, and lead by example. And when you find yourself in a situation where your absence might be questioned, know that the value you have created will speak louder than anything else. If you've built your worth and identity upon solid ground, it will be felt even in your absence. What do you think? Have you ever experienced this dynamic in your relationships? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Her ego takes a hit. When a man pulls away from a woman, it may seem like she's unaffected, acting as though she's indifferent to his absence. However, her ego is keenly aware of the shift. Women, by nature, are accustomed to being pursued. They're familiar with the rhythm of men seeking their attention, trying to impress them, win their affection, or at the very least, keep in touch. The moment that attention stops, however, something in her changes, not immediately in her heart, but deep within her ego. At first, she may dismiss it, thinking to herself, "He must be busy. He'll text me soon enough." But as hours stretch into days, and those days turn into a full week, the uncertainty sets in, and with it, confusion. Why hasn't he reached out? This is where the struggle within her psyche begins to unfold. In today's world of dating, many men act out of fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of her moving on, fear of losing her to someone else. This is why they constantly check in, liking her social media posts, sending aimless texts like, "How's your day going?" just to remain visible in her life. But a man who truly understands his worth is different. He doesn't operate from a place of fear or insecurity. He knows that his attention is a valuable gift. When he withholds it, a woman feels it. She realizes that she is no longer the one holding the reins. The power dynamic shifts, and suddenly, she's no longer in control. Her ego, which had once been fueled by constant validation, now feels the sting of its absence. This dynamic is not just a relic of the past, it resonates deeply in modern relationships. In a world where instant communication and constant affirmation have become the norm, the power of absence can be both striking and impactful. This absence isn't about being cold or playing games, it's about recognizing your own worth and understanding the balance in a relationship. Men who understand their value aren't afraid to give space. They don't feel the need to overextend themselves because they know that a woman who truly values them will feel the loss of that attention. This absence can make her reflect not only on the relationship, but also on the balance of power and respect between the two. It's a subtle yet powerful way to let her experience what it means when the energy she's accustomed to receiving is no longer there. From a Stoic perspective, this aligns with the ancient wisdom of self-control and understanding one's own value. The Stoic ideal is rooted in the belief that we must not seek external validation or allow ourselves to be overly influenced by the emotions or behaviors of others. By pulling away and not feeding into the cycle of constant attention-seeking, a man demonstrates his emotional resilience. He is not swayed by the need to please, but instead acts in accordance with his own values and sense of worth. This helps him avoid the trap of insecurity, and more importantly, it forces the woman to recognize her own emotional response to his absence. She may initially be confused or frustrated, but in time, she may come to appreciate his presence more deeply, seeing it as a reward rather than an expectation. In modern life, this principle of withholding attention is not about playing hard to get or manipulating someone's emotions. It is about setting boundaries and asserting one's own value. Men, especially those who have spent years learning the art of self-mastery, understand that their time and energy are not freely given away without consideration. It is not a game, but a statement of self-respect. The woman's reaction to this absence, while sometimes difficult to navigate, is part of the natural dynamics of relationships. Her ego, which thrives on attention, is tested, and in that testing, both parties are given the chance to grow. The lesson here is clear. The value of your attention should never be underestimated. When you understand your worth, you show up with integrity and strength, and in doing so, you allow the space for deeper, more meaningful connections to form. 3. She feels a power shift. When you step away, the world of a woman changes. She's used to being in control. In dating, the power dynamics are clear. Most men will go to great lengths to get her attention. Sending that first text, double texting, when she doesn't respond, always trying to impress. Men often don't realize that they've already accepted this role, playing along with the script she sets. But when you pull back, the script flips, and the power dynamic shifts. At first, she might not take it seriously. She might think you're simply playing hard to get, assuming that you'll come back into her orbit, that you'll reach out soon enough. But as the days pass, as the silence stretches on, something unexpected happens. Uncertainty creeps in. And let's face it, uncertainty is not something women enjoy, especially when they've been in the driver's seat all along. When a woman feels in control, she doesn't want to lose that power. Yet, here you are, not chasing, not desperate, not scrambling for her approval. And that's when she begins to feel the sting of doubt. Was I as important to him as I thought I was? This is where the old Stoic wisdom comes in. A man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. As Epictetus once said, by withdrawing, you are not just stepping back from her, but from a place of anxiety and fear. You are standing firm in your own power, unshaken, unbothered. The Stoics knew that controlling one's reactions and emotions in the face of uncertainty is the true test of strength. You don't chase or beg because you know your value. You know that your life is not defined by anyone else's actions. This creates a sense of mystery, a vacuum of power that she now has to face. Women, often confident in their ability to move on from men they deem less significant, now must confront a question that doesn't come easily. Maybe I wasn't as irreplaceable to him as I thought. It's a question that unsettles them, because for most women, feeling irreplaceable is a core part of their sense of control. The moment you withhold your attention without begging for hers, she realizes that you are not so easily swayed, that you are not playing by the usual rules. You challenge her sense of security in ways no other man does. The silence, the absence, it makes her question the reality she built in her mind. This shift is uncomfortable for her. And guess what? That discomfort is a powerful tool in your hands. You've now placed the ball in her court. But unlike other men who would beg and grovel, you're not showing any weakness. You are playing a different game, a game she's not used to. When you show restraint, you demonstrate mastery over yourself, and that's a trait that no woman can easily ignore. You've become a mystery, and, as we all know, humans are drawn to mystery. As Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. In that silence, in your absence, she faces a version of herself she doesn't want to confront, a version where she isn't the center of your universe. And that is powerful. The advice here is simple. Step back and let the silence do its work. Don't chase, don't beg, don't over-explain. If you want to stand out, do the unexpected. Play by your own rules, trust in your worth. And in doing so, you'll shift the power in a way that she can't help but notice. Don't be afraid to let her experience the uncertainty. Let her feel the tension between desire and doubt. It is in this space that you hold all the cards. Your absence isn't just physical, it's a lesson in self-control. And that lesson is something every woman, no matter how confident, will learn. Fourth, her attraction intensifies. When you step back, a woman doesn't simply forget about you. In fact, her attraction can deepen, not because she's suddenly in love, but because distance has a way of playing with the mind. The absence of something brings about a stronger craving for it, and this is precisely what happens when you're no longer immediately accessible. In relationships, especially those shaped by Stoic wisdom, it's not about being overly present or constantly reassuring, but about allowing space and time to spark desire. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is particularly true in the dynamics of attraction. When you're constantly available, you remove the element of mystery, leaving little to wonder about. Women are not drawn to men who overwhelm them with attention. Instead, they crave emotionally engaging experiences that keep them on their toes. One of the most powerful emotions that fuels attraction is certainty, and paradoxically, it comes not from the ease of constant availability, but from the uncertainty of not knowing exactly where they stand with you. This creates an exciting tension, an emotional pull that draws her in, much like the magnetic force of opposites. When you were always there, immediately replying, liking every picture, showering her with validation. There was no room for mystery. She knew she had your attention, and as a result, the attraction wanes because there's no space for the unknown. However, when you pull back and she senses that she's no longer the center of your world, something shifts inside her. The key to understanding this dynamic lies in the wisdom of the Stoics. Not every action should be immediate, and not every emotion should be instantly satisfied. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Time is a great teacher, but unfortunately it kills all its pupils." The distance creates a fertile ground for emotional growth, both for you and her, and that space allows her attraction to grow. This is a reminder that much like the principles of Stoicism, balance is crucial. When you master the art of timing, and when you allow space for uncertainty, you create a deeper connection, one that is built on mutual respect and emotional intensity. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know how you've experienced attraction in your own relationships. 5. She tests you. When a woman starts to feel your absence, she won't simply sit idly by. Instead, she'll begin to test you, often in ways that may seem subtle or unintentional. This is not a random act. It's her method of assessing whether she still has a hold on your attention and emotions. Think of it as a quiet, almost instinctive search for reassurance that you are still emotionally invested in her and that you haven't moved on. These tests are not meant to be malicious, but rather a way to gauge the dynamics of your connection. Initially, she might start with something small, like liking an old post on social media, watching your stories, or casually mentioning you in conversations with mutual friends. These seemingly innocent actions are strategically aimed at drawing you back in, without giving the impression that she's actively pursuing you. She wants to see if you'll react, whether you'll acknowledge her presence, or if you'll break the silence and demonstrate that your feelings haven't changed. If she doesn't get the response she hopes for, she'll likely escalate her efforts. Perhaps she'll become more direct, reaching out with more frequent messages or more overt gestures. The key thing to understand here is that these actions are not just about getting your attention. They are about testing the stability of the emotional connection you once shared. She's searching for signs that you still care, that you're not emotionally detached, and that she still holds a place in your heart. It's important for you to recognize these signals, as they often reveal deeper emotional truths. In modern life, where communication can often feel distant and disconnected, it's essential to remain aware of how subtle actions like this can reveal a person's emotional state. For you, the wise approach, drawn from Stoic wisdom, would be to stay grounded and calm in these situations. Instead of reacting impulsively to her actions, focus on your own emotional clarity. Don't allow her test to control your feelings, but respond thoughtfully and consistently, showing that your emotional strength is unshaken. Remember, in relationships, just as in life, it's not the tests we face that define us, but how we choose to respond to them. By embracing this philosophy, you can navigate the complexities of attraction and emotional investment with greater wisdom and clarity. 6. She considers other options. When you're not around, she starts to feel the absence. And let me tell you, this is a critical moment. If your absence doesn't make her feel something deep, don't be surprised if she begins to explore other options. Here's the truth that many men fail to grasp. Just because she once gave you her attention doesn't mean she'll wait around for you indefinitely. Women, by their very nature, have options. They are not wired to sit idle, waiting for someone who isn't showing up. If you think your past connection will keep her around, you're fooling yourself. When you're not there, two things will unfold. Either she realizes how much your presence truly matters, and she starts craving your attention like never before, or she simply moves on, realizing that your presence wasn't as significant as she thought. This is where Stoic wisdom cuts through the noise. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What we do now echoes in eternity," reminding us that every action or lack of action has consequences that ripple through time. You, as a man, need to be the one who consistently shows up, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, and in your actions. Her focus will shift based on what you do or don't do during your absence. If you neglect her, she will redirect her energy elsewhere, and just like that, you're no longer the priority. This is the harsh reality that too many men overlook, thinking that their past efforts will continue to hold her attention. But in truth, she will only stay engaged if she feels valued and important in your life. So step up, be present, and never take her for granted. Don't wait until it's too late to realize her absence from your life could be permanent. Now, I want you to understand. If you want her to crave your presence, make it clear that you value her, and show her that you're someone who will not be easily replaced. Don't make her feel like she has to look for fulfillment elsewhere. Be the man she knows she can't afford to lose. If you understand this, say it loud and clear in the comments. I will make her value my presence, and I won't let her slip away. Make your mark today, be the one she can't imagine being without. 7. She either submits or moves on. In relationships, there comes a point where everything becomes undeniably clear. After navigating through the emotional storms, the testing phases, and the constant shifts in power dynamics, a woman reaches a crucial decision. As the Old Stoic wisdom teaches, everything in life boils down to clear choices, just as Marcus Aurelius once reflected. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In the context of relationships, this decision manifests as one of two paths. Either a woman will fully submit to the value you offer, or she will move on completely. There's no grey area here, no middle ground. She will either recognize your worth and invest in the relationship, or she will walk away, choosing her path elsewhere. This moment is the culmination of everything that has come before it. The conversations, the behavior, the signals sent and received. Think of it like a mirror reflecting the true nature of the connection. If a woman has experienced consistent strength, respect, and understanding from you, it becomes clear in her heart that this is where her loyalty and affection belong. However, if the relationship has been marked by doubt, insecurity, or imbalance, the decision to move on is almost inevitable. In many ways, this moment is not just about your actions, but also about your inner strength, the way you embody your values, and the respect you demand in return. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This idea applies to relationships as well. A strong man, one who stands firm in his principles and doesn't settle for less, attracts a woman who recognizes and values that strength. Real life is often less romantic and more pragmatic than we like to admit. Women, like all people, are deeply attuned to how they are treated. If they feel that their emotional, mental, and physical needs are being met, they will invest wholeheartedly in the relationship. If not, they will instinctively withdraw. This is not a sign of weakness, but rather a reflection of their deep understanding of self-worth. It's important for you, as a man, to recognize when this shift happens. It's easy to miss the signals when we are caught up in our own emotions, but this is when you must apply Stoic wisdom. Control what you can and accept what you cannot. Know that if she chooses to stay, it will be because she sees something real, something worth holding on to. If she chooses to move on, it's simply because she understands her worth and is unwilling to settle for less than what she deserves. This decision is the result of the choices both of you have made over time, and it's up to you to remain steadfast in your principles and lead the relationship with integrity. Remember, as you continue to grow and evolve, you will always attract those who resonate with your energy. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you believe is the most important factor in a woman's decision to stay or move on? Your insights may help others gain clarity on their own journeys. When you're not around, a woman experiences a whirlwind of emotions, often more profound than you might think. Her thoughts can swing from longing for your presence to wondering about your feelings, questioning if she matters to you. This absence forces her to reflect on the value of your relationship, testing her patience and resilience. As the Stoics wisely put it, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Your absence can trigger emotional turbulence, but how she responds reveals her depth of attachment and understanding. Women, like all humans, seek reassurance in moments of uncertainty, and your behaviour, when you're present or absent, plays a crucial role in providing that security. This aligns with what the philosopher Epictetus taught. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So, when you're away, remember, it's not about the distance that creates the gap, it's the emotional connection you've nurtured. She'll either feel the weight of your absence or find strength in the bond you've built. Understand this dynamic, reflect on your actions, and share your thoughts. How do you think your absence impacts the women in your life? Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below.